Hello to everyone who may or may not be here. Welcome back to the stream where we play non-violent games. Games that reward the player for intellectual and or emotional engagement rather than for combat or other kind of violent gameplay loops. We're back with the Great Ace Attorney today. Woo! I don't know what that was, but it's there and I guess I'm stuck with it now. Let me just clean my glasses real quick. Also, sorry I'm a little late. I was just wrapping something up and, well, had to be wrapped up before I could start. So, but I did it, and I'm here now, and I'm just sorry I'm late. And you know, as usual, the VOD will you know, have the wait cut out. I wasn't able to do that always, but I can these days, so I do now. It is indeed a bizarre incidental born of a... oh.
Pipe in hand, Sholmes looked down at the thick, rolling fog outside our window. I wonder exactly how many mysteries are out there, hidden within this bed of fog, he said. Indeed, a most bizarre incident, born of a curious advertisement. A hellhound's mad gallop through the shadows of a serial murder. An executed man's graveyard resurrection in the dead of night. And a commonplace killing in a small, forgotten room at the edge of town. There is, naturally, always another side to every case, of which most remain ignorant. And it is that other side which compels me to the scene of the crime, Wilson. So quickly now, take your hat and let's be on our way, my dear fellow. For our adventure is not over yet. Come, the game is afoot.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, someone's asking me something. I feel obligated to respond. It's kind of a bit of an issue. Okay. 8 days after that earth-shattering trial and Kazuma regaining his memory, we were in the foyer of one of London's most luxurious hotels, the Great Waterloo Hotel. First of November, 10:24 a.m., Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Professor Mikotoba is due to arrive at any moment. Yes, I'm so glad we got here in time. Susato-san hasn't been the same since what happened. Not that I'm surprised. The truth about Kazuma-sama's father? Do you suppose my father knew? That he was actually the mass murderer of the professor, you mean? I knew that's what she was thinking about. There's a good chance, I'd say. I mean, they did come here to London together 16 years ago, didn't they? Yes, that's true. Come to think of it, didn't you say that Professor Mikotoba knew about Kazuma going missing in Hong Kong as well? That's right, but for some reason he wasn't at liberty to talk to me about it. That probably means he knows, then. About Kazuma showing up here in London with amnesia, and that he's regained his memory now. Ah, there she is. Oh, who is this? Oh, Father! Okay. Mr. Mikotoba, what is your name? I mean, what is your voice? Obviously, I know your name. I literally just said it. Let's see. Oh. Anyways, I don't know what that was. I'm sorry, everyone.
Oh, good, you're here.
Hello, Susato. How are you? Hello, Susato. How are you? Hello, Susato. How are you? I'm very well, thank you. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. Oh, excuse me. We're delighted you've arrived safe and sound. Hello, Mr. Nardo. Very kind of you to take the trouble to meet us here. Oh, not at all. It's my pleasure. That's the judge. Okay. Sorry, just trying to juggle a few things. Which I thought I had it all wrapped up before I started streaming. I do not, apparently.
To determine whether you are sufficiently...
We've heard all about your extraordinary exploits here in London, you know. The news has crossed the seas. It has? I always look forward to reading the monthly reports that arrive with the steamships from Britain. Oh, I see. Well, thank you very much. Who is this man, and why do I feel as though I've met him before? I take it from your expression that you can't quite place me. In that case, how about a little reminder, Seshiro? A firm tap should do it. Yes. A firm tap? What? Here we go, then. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Ryanosuke Naruto, guilty. Oh, you're... The court will now hear the trial of Ryanosuke Naruto. Look, I know that we found out that it's not Ryanosuke last week. I know we found that out. I've been saying Ryanosuke for 2 games now. Like, so it's been so for months and months and months, like for like over a year. Okay, I can't switch it now. It just feels awkward. But I know it's not. I know that's not how you pronounce it. Okay? Okay. As long as we're all on the same page. Okay, let's see. The court will now hear the trial of Ryanosuke Naruto. Your Excellency! Hello, Judge Chikoku. How are you? It's been a long time. Hey, Sarah! Hey, Thrifty! Woo! People are here! I, literally never have anyone. Except sometimes I have some people. But just more often than not, I just have so few people here, and it's sad. I like having an audience. But no, I get people. It's just usually it's one person or something, and usually they have to go at some point, so it's a whole dang party in here. It's 2 people, which is more than usual. So I guess everything's relative, right? Good, you remembered now. That really did the trick. Guilty! Only I was declared not guilty, wasn't I? And there was no laughing at the time. So, London again after all this time. Hard to believe it's been 10 years. To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Oh. Sorry. It's a good point, Sarah. No, you're right. You're right. I don't. It's kind of too late now, I guess. Kinda. Sorry. But I'll change it in that server only. Okay. I'll change it there only. Um. There. Is that okay now, Sarah? Is it better? Um. Okay. Uh. Okay. Yes, that's true. But she hasn't played this game at all. So she, right? She, her pronouns? Sorry, I'm blanking on that. I think so, right? But yeah. I'm very confused. What are you confused about, Thrifty? Can I clear anything up for you? To be honest, I never thought I'd be back. Neither did I. I didn't imagine Japan would ever be invited to an international symposium like this. Though really, I doubt anyone did, to be honest. It's all thanks to you, isn't it, Sashiro? What are you talking about, Eugene? Which post in which server? Oh, the one in so I did a self-promo post in a few different servers. And this was the one in Vibe Hut, yeah. Um, of course, Judge Jigoku. He must complete the set. He's the other man who 16 years ago... Yes, game time. Yes. Came to London with Kasuma's father and Professor Mikotoba. He's the third visiting scholar. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you? Ah, I knew you were jealous. Sorry, ministerial status? Yes, didn't you know? Toshiro here is also Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs. It was his personal insistence that allowed you to take Kazuma's place here on this study tour. Well, oh no! Unfortunately, well, okay, well, alright. Okay. I was just thinking of something, which is... Yeah, anyways. Alright, anyways. Yeah, the thing was that I didn't... you know, Sarah, like, I was thinking that, like, you could technically... I didn't think it was a spoiler. I was actually pretty intentional about that. I didn't think it was a spoiler because, you know, you can... Kazuma's mission doesn't necessarily mean Kazuma's alive, right? Guilty as charged. I don't know. Guilty as charged. Oh, well, thank you very much. He's really every bit as important as he looks. Ah, yes, now, Norado. I received a telegram from Lord Strongheart yesterday. Oh, you did? It appears that some things came to light in a trial you were involved with 8 days ago. About what happened 10 years ago. That tragedy. Yes. Could you tell us any more about it? That as well. That as well. By the way, Sarah, I know you love coming to the... I know you've really... Well, not love, maybe, but you've always enjoyed coming to at least the Thursday streams. I'm wondering why you haven't been around here very much lately. So, how was the voyage here? Well, 50 days at sea is a long time by anyone's standards. But it wasn't as bad as when we first came 16 years ago. No, that's true. Then I truly wondered if we wouldn't be drifting in the vast ocean for the rest of our lives. This time we followed the same route as you, so we were able to relax and enjoy the experience. Ah, so you stopped in France's beautiful capital, Paris. We did, yes. Though only for one night. And yesterday evening we left the port of Dunkirk for Dover. Just in time for the symposium, in fact. It starts tomorrow. It's wonderful that you were invited to attend such an important international event. I'm very proud of you, Father. It's thanks to Seishiro here. 16 years ago, he managed to ingratiate himself with Britain's Attorney General. I'm sure that's why he was invited, and I suppose you could say I'm something of an appendage by default. Speak for yourself, Eugen. You were close friends with the professor of forensic science at a major hospital. Yes, well, I'd rather not dredge all that up, really. No, there's been a lot of water under the bridge since then, but it doesn't bring him back. Kazuma's father, I suppose. The professor, the killer who took the lives of 5 members of the British aristocracy, was actually Kazuma's father, wasn't he? That's correct. Genshin Asugi. Genshin. You knew, I presume, Father. Yes, he was a close friend at the time. Genjin came to Britain as a police detective. He was studying investigative techniques at Scotland Yard. I've never understood what drove the man to commit such heinous acts. It was a closed trial, so the public never knew the truth, and he was executed with little ado. This day, very few people know what really happened, even on our homeland. But what about Kazuma? Did he know? Did he know the truth about his father? No, of course not. He was told his father passed from sickness. However, I suspect he may have had his doubts. Oh? Why? As you know, I tried to guide Kazuma growing up as if he were my own son. And one day he came to my office at the university and said, Kazuma. Wait, do I not? There's no way I don't have a voice for him, right? Or I do, but I guess I didn't record it in here. I think it was, what I did was something like, I've decided. I want to travel to Great Britain and study there. Do you think he wanted to come here to investigate his father's death? I don't know. But when I looked into his eyes, I did know that there was no way I'd be able to stop him. Something else came to light in the trial the other day, actually. Oh? What? Well, having disappeared in Hong Kong and been missing for almost a year, Kazuma since turned up here in London working as the apprentice of Lord Van Zeeks. What? What? That's news to us! So, Lord Stronghardt's telegram neglected to mention that part then. As you know, we both thought Kazuma had died on the steamship during our voyage to Great Britain in January. But he didn't die. He's alive. As you knew, didn't you, Father? In actual fact, no. What I did know is that when your ship docked in Hong Kong, he mysteriously vanished. We sent a team of investigators to Hong Kong to try to ascertain what had happened, but to no avail. But he's still alive, and here in London, you say. I never dared even to dream it. Why on earth did that young man not make contact? The government and the police have been chasing clues fruitlessly for months now. Well, it seems that he was suffering from amnesia. What? Amnesia? When we first came across him again here in London, he didn't know who either of us were. I see. He only regained his memory 8 days ago. This is unbelievable. Yes, it's quite miraculous. I wonder why Lord Strongheart didn't let us know. I must speak with him urgently. I wonder how Kazuma's been these past few days. Would it be wrong of us to go and visit him? That began 16 years ago now. It's a distant memory, really. It was Eugene here, Genshin Asugi, and myself. We were the original three. The first judicial scholars of Japan to travel overseas to study. Ocean voyages were not what they are today, I can tell you. 16 years ago, things were tough for their generation. Your father was an exceptionally fine medical student at Yume University at the time, you know, young lady. Yes, grandmother told me. Excuse me. He went to do research at a great London hospital to study autopsy. Practically unheard of in Japan. Yes, it was an eerie place, sandwiched between the back of a prison and a burial ground. Not more talk of graves. Very often there's no one willing to deal with bodies following autopsy work. So you see, autopsy labs have something of an unavoidable relationship with graveyards and prisons. Not my cup of tea at all. Do you remember that Scottish prison governor? Caden, his name was. He was a good man. Yes. But then, of course, in our 6th year here, everything changed with that dreadful case. When Genshin was arrested for a series of the most gruesome murders. I simply couldn't believe it. I'd known the man for years. I was a witness at the secret hearing and tried to speak in his defense, but you went a little too far and ended up facing charges yourself, didn't you? Well, suffice to say that after that trial we were sent back to Japan. There was nothing more we could do to save Genshin. He was a lost cause, sadly. Well, if you'll excuse us now. Yes, I'd like to get this trunk up to my room as soon as possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have held you up here for so long. I'll call for the porter then. Just wait here. Son's gone off on a run. I'd like to stay and talk more, but I do have various preparations to make for tomorrow. Yes, of course. It must be such a big responsibility representing our entire country. I wish you the best of luck. Naruto, I hope you'll keep an eye on Susato for me. Keep looking after her as you obviously have been. Oh, no. I mean, if anyone's looking after anyone, it's her looking after me. Well, I do appreciate you being there for her. After all, I've been a miserable father to her. I've thoroughly let her down. Sorry? What do you mean? Well, it was 16 years ago that I started my long study tour here in Britain, as you know. The very year Susato was born. Yes, I heard. The birth of my daughter was the most joyous event of my life, but... well, sadly, it was accompanied by the most tragic event of my life, too. Oh, yes. Susato-san hinted at something like that. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. The point is, I became rather less dependable than befits a grown man, and it was then that Sashiro offered me the opportunity to study here in Great Britain. I was too worried about you to leave you behind, so perhaps I was a little heavy-handed when it came to persuading you to accompany me to London. So, that's what happened in a nutshell. And that's also the reason why I now feel compelled to give my daughter as many opportunities as I dare. Though the world does not readily afford young women such things, I must say. I completely understand, Professor. Sexism! Ah, one other thing, Naruto. If I may be so bold, I have a favor to ask you. Oh, really? Of course. What can I do for you? Well, the thing is, I'm so sorry that took so long. Mr. Sato. Now then, allow us to take your bags. Allow me to take your bags? One moment, if you please, Porter. Of course, sir. That machine around your neck. It's a camera, I believe. Quite right, sir. Just 5 shillings for a lovely photograph to commemorate a wonderful stay in the hotel, sir. Well, I think given the occasion, we could justify the expense. Ah, yes, of course. I'd like to thank you for coming with me, Miss Narada. It's really made Father very happy, I think. Oh, well, I'm pleased, then. But we were interrupted before. Professor Mikitoba was about to ask me something. Shall we return to Baker Street, then? I expect Iris will have some delicious tea waiting for us. Yes, let's go. I'm getting more and more anxious about Kazuma, though. Perhaps I'll try to meet with Lord Strongheart later and ask after him. That desk is known as the hotel reception. Anyone wanting to spend the night has to report there to sign in for their stay. Oh, so do you think that's the head clerk behind the desk there? Yes, I'm sure it must be. I'd love to stay in a grand hotel like this for a little while, wouldn't you? Just to know what it's like. If the hotel fee was paid through our stipend, I'm afraid it might bankrupt our homeland. True. London gives the word expensive a whole new meaning. Look at those cases just left there on that trolley. Aren't they worried about thieves? I know I am. Aren't they worried about thieves? I know I am. Haven't you seen the porter over there? Don't worry, he's obviously keeping an eye on everything. Ah, so it's a trap designed to catch any chancers who might be tempted. Why did the porter give me such a scathing look just now, do you suppose? Well, some might say you look a little suspicious with your jet black clothes. Not everyone clad in black is some sort of ninja with intent to steal, you know. Have you seen all those sparkling jewels up there? They must have gathered every gem in the world for that. It's called a chandelier, I believe. It's designed to provide elegant lighting in large, spacious rooms like this. So they had to gather every gem in the world just to illuminate one room? It's probably electric light bulbs that are actually throwing the light. If I tried to hang something like that from the ceiling in the office, it would be scraping on the floor. I think perhaps chandeliers aren't for you, Miss Nyla. I know it's only an Alderatic room, but I find this place more relaxing than anywhere else. I believe I resist tea waiting for us, Miss Nyla. First of November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Here's the final draft of the opening address for tomorrow's proceedings. I've supplemented your original with the figures you asked for from the yard. I see.
So, entering for a great...
I see. Excellent work. Thank you. You're welcome, my lord. What's Lord Van Zeek's doing here? My, there seems to be an awful lot of tension in the air, wouldn't you say? This place is stifling enough as it is. We really don't need any more tension. Surely only good things will happen from this. Yes, because that's you know that with Ace Attorney, things only go in a positive direction. That's the only thing that ever happens in an Ace Attorney game. My apologies. I didn't notice you come in. Your small stature and dark dress make you all but invisible to me. Oh, no, it's entirely my fault for wearing black, I'm sure. From now on, you must dress in white from head to toe whenever you come here. Now then, Miss Nardo. Yes, my lord, I'm right here. Kill me now. Yeah, I don't like that phrase. Is something wrong? Perhaps it's a little too hot in here for you. Oh, no, not at all. I mean, I've never experienced a room at such a perfect temperature. If you're sure, the beads of sweat carving their way down your face seem to suggest otherwise. Because of the daggers you're staring at me with, mainly. As you're no doubt aware, my International Forensic Science Symposium begins tomorrow. In fact, your father arrived in London earlier today, I hear, madam. Oh, yes, that's right, my lord. He's extremely honored to have been invited. I'll leave the remaining preparations for the meeting in your capable hands then, Lord Van Zieks. I will attend at once. He gave you a very cold stare as he left, didn't he? I know. I haven't done anything. Have I? These past few days, my feet have barely touched the ground, I must say. My dedicated right hand of many years was recently put out of action in spectacular fashion. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is your left hand still of service? Miss Nardo, he's talking about Dr. Scythe. Oh, of course. Ugh. I'm terribly sorry about that. I was just, Fear not. You've done nothing wrong. Dr. Scythe's own wrongdoing precipitated the situation. You needn't concern yourself with it any further. That would be a lot easier to do if it weren't for the piercing stare you're giving me. Lord Van Zieks is doing an admirable job of holding the fort. Though disturbingly, his apprentice has been missing since yesterday. Oh. Missing? What's become of Kazuma-sama now? Oh, I'm assuming the LMAO is in reaction to the hand thing, the right hand thing, because I thought that was pretty funny too. Not long ago, visitor numbers to the Great Exhibition exceeded 30 million. 30 million? Are there even that many people in the world? Well, today there's 8 billion. So, yeah. Anyways, as a comparison, Mr. Hado, the population of the imperial capital, Tokyo, is 2 million. I will be opening the International Forensic Science Symposium in the exhibition's main auditorium. This event has been 2 years in the making. 2 years of preparations and negotiations with other countries. Sounds like a tremendous achievement. Congratulations. The 20th century will see the wholesale adoption of forensic investigation techniques. And cooperation between policing organizations around the globe will be essential. Which is why this landmark first symposium had to be hosted here, at the heart of our great British Empire, in order that Scotland Yard can become the leading investigative organization in the New World. He's the same as ever, I see. That passion of his is quite something. You're every bit as passionate in your own way, I'm sure, Miss Nardo. I'm the only person in this country who truly cares about a future that embraces forensic science. It was my intention to become Her Majesty's Attorney General and reform the Yard from the ground up. So the disgrace of the forensic investigation team has been a bitter blow to my ambitions. I first established the forensic investigation team a year ago, experimentally to start with. With Dr. Scythe at the helm, it was steadily accruing an impressive record of achievement. I was on the verge of changing its name and elevating its status to a full-blown forensic investigation department. And can you not do that now? No! Of course not! Obviously, no one wants to hear anything about it at the moment. Even I can't keep this story out of the papers. 6 million Londoners will be cursing forensic science now. This incident will set back our country's advancements in the field by a good 10 years, I'd say. Unintended repercussions of our trial. We simply couldn't have overlooked what had happened, though. Of course not. We should all be grateful to you both. Anyway, I'll still reform this country's policing when I become Attorney General. This might delay my plans, but it won't alter them. Nothing will stand in my way. About Lord Van Zieks' apprentice? Ah, yes. That came as a surprise to me, I must say, that you and he are old friends. How did he become an apprentice to Lord Van Zieks in the first place? It came about 3 months ago. An unidentified Asian man was apprehended by border police. They found him hiding aboard a large goods vessel. Oh my! So he stowed away to get here. He had no papers to identify him, no passport, and he was suffering from amnesia too. Other than the fact he was clearly of Eastern descent, there were no clues as to who he was. So I decided to assign him to Lord Van Zeek's. That way I could keep an eye on him. But then, why the mask? I didn't want to burden Lord Van Zeek with tiresome explanations about why he had an Eastern apprentice. Because it would be so much easier to explain why he was wearing a mask. He's proving to be a great help to Lord Van Zeek's. I have high hopes for his future. By the way, do you know where he's gone? No idea, but I believe he's left London for the time being. Oh. I take it you also didn't know that the man's father was one of our country's most infamous criminals, I mean. Chinasugi. What we learned from that trial 8 days ago was a huge shock. Finding out my friend's father was... yes, in Chinasugi. The professor case 10 years ago caused a great stir here in Britain. There were such awful murders, and unprecedented, using a ferocious dog as a murder weapon. And no one would have believed the culprit was a foreign student invited to study here by the government. So the true identity of the killer couldn't be made public then, and it can't be made public now. Nobody in your country knows it was him, and neither do the citizens of London. The main motivation was to avoid aggravating relations between our two nations at the time, I understand. Correct. However, it has to be noted that there were some supporters of the professor's apparent cause. What? Supporters of a mass murderer? The majority of the man's victims were a blight on the aristocracy of the day. Somewhat ironically, their deaths actually benefited society as a whole. Also a fair few thinkers in London believed, anyway. Right. I see, but... it was still murder, wasn't it? It seems very similar, doesn't it? To the idea of the Reaper of the Barley. I guess I got 50%. Could I show you this, Lord Strongheart? I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence. Oh. Especially when the evidence in question is so dull. Ah, so that's the real reason. Okay, I thought I might be able to get something interesting out of that, but I did not. First of November, Naruto's legal consultancy. First of November, Sholmes' suite. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. What was that? A man screaming in a most unflattering way. Do you think could it have been Mr. Sholmes? Oh my, I do hope not. Hey! I don't do it anymore. Mon ami. Stop this disgraceful display, eh? Who are these people? Look at their hair, it's bright red. I think they must be clients of Mr. Sholmes. Right, you two. You're coming with me now. Right, you two. You're coming with me now. Down to the clink. No, not in prison. It is dark and damp, but I don't like it. Both. The darkness, it is my friend. I am not scared. Yeah, but you are always scared of the dark. Shut your mouth, you idiot. I will sit quietly in the dark and play our next daring heist. And plan our next daring heist. I don't like this. I don't like it. Well, tough. We'll finish this down the yard. Now get moving. Bye then, Ginny. Have fun. Oh yeah, thanks, Iris. And thanks, you great detective. Gina makes a fine detective herself, doesn't she? Oh, Susie and Reno. Hello, Iris. We're home. Well, did you find your daddy? Yes, we arrived at the hotel just before he and his friend. Oh, well, that's great news. I hope I'll get to see my daddy again soon. Yes. Of course. Dr. John H. Wilson. So, Iris, all that remains now is that greatest of problems known to man. But before we concern ourselves with that, I believe some tea is in order, don't you, my dear fellows? What the hell happened? Is something wrong, Miss Nardo? Do I have a crumb or such like on my face? Not so much on your face. It's on your head, I'd say. Come along then, everyone. I've brewed a lovely special blend. Time for tea. Whatever is going on here today? In that case, let us sit and drink now. For I am, in fact, expecting a guest later today. Mr. Sholmes, who are the two Oh, wait, they were both male? I thought the younger one was not, but okay. Mr. Sholmes, who are the two gentlemen that were here before? Oh, just a pair of petty criminals. Nothing of significance. Of course, they have to make a living somehow. And when the mood takes me, I'm willing to turn a blind eye to all manner of infractions. When the mood takes you? All manner of infractions. But when such fellows set their sights on Mr. Sherlock Holmes, well, that's when their luck runs out. Oh my, you were the targets of a crime, Mr. Sholmes. But I quickly devised a plan to entrap them and deliver them to our young detective ally. You should have asked Regsy to come too. We could have had an arresting tea party. I did send word, but no answer was forthcoming. The man is consummately in the wrong place at the wrong time. There's a word for it, I'm sure. Ah, I have it! A bungler. That's the word. It's a good job he's not here to hear you say that. So those redheads had been up to no good? I wonder what the men did. What was that about the greatest of problems known to man that you mentioned before? Is it another fiendishly intricate case, Mr. Sholmes? How should I best explain it? Are you aware of the theory of evolution by natural selection, perchance? Well, I think I've heard talk of it somewhere. Possibly. It's a revolutionary scientific theory that was newly proposed 40 years ago now. According to its author, Mr. Darwin, we humans were once apes who lived in the treetops. Wait, what? We were apes? Indeed. And from the very moment that those apes descended from the canopy to live as humans, it has been our lot to be at the mercy of the greatest problem known to man. Our lot? What is this great problem, Mr. Sholmes? Why, is it not obvious, my dearest madam? The problem of rent. But did you not receive a rather large sum of money from Madame Tuspel's only the other day? Ha! A large sum. One potted herb for Iris and a new motor car for me later, and all of it has quite disappeared, I assure you. Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it. Honestly, Hurley, you know you squandered it. Yes, well, anyway, 2 days ago, I discovered the answer to man's greatest problem. For the coming month, at least. And what was the answer? Why, there is a substantial clue before your very eyes. Then tell me, let me see. Humans are sorry creatures, unable to see what is in front of their noses. Let me give you some assistance. Don't look, but observe me very closely. There is one particular feature about my person that has changed. You should notice it in the end, I think. In the end? It's been stabbing me in both eyes right from the very beginning of our conversation. I think we might need another clue before we uncover the full answer, Miss Nardo. Yeah. Thanks for the hint. I'll be tearing my hair out if this charade goes on any longer. Oh, I agree. At least for Mr. Sholmes, she is, I should say. But I don't know. I have a hard time saying that she is to Naruto, because to Rinosuke rather, because you know she does do the Sasada takedown to him a bunch, and I feel like that somewhat offsets the niceness, just a little bit. Not like a whole lot, because she's still ridiculously nice, but like just a little bit, you know. I finally managed to remember this behemoth's name, the Great Analytoscope. I don't think it was here when I left for Japan, was it? Oh, is that right? Yes, because it was with the pawnbroker. Ah, of course. Oh, that's given me a wonderful idea. I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office would be tidy at last. Don't even joke about it, Mr. Sato. You are joking, aren't you? There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment. It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Shames's brilliance. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain, though. It looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray. I really don't get it. There's a skull on the bookshelf. I think Iris gave it a name. This is Mr. Sham's famous. I'll click on it next. The one he found and being sold for a song at the one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. Oh, you like to imagine? Got it. Yeah. Well, I honestly think it would be more likely for Sholmes to have given the skull a name. Just because Iris is actually the less childish one. The one he found being sold for a song at a pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shoddy something? Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. What? Stradivarius, Miss Nardo. Stradivar. Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. Okay, I can't click on it. But yeah, I think it's much more likely Sholmes named it. Mr. Sholmes, isn't it about time you told us the truth? Just over a week ago, you said to us, I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Tragique, Bob the Skull's long-lost brother? Do you mean Murray? Or is that... No, that was... Was that a different thing? Was that like a different... Because someone named Murray Bob in a different stream. Murray from Monkey Island. So I don't know if... Like, that was... But that was in... Sorry! I'm not sure what is, who Bob the Skull is then, unless that's what you're referring to. That case aboard the SS Burya in January. Kazuma wasn't killed, and you knew he wasn't dead at the time. So what was really going on? The fellow was unconscious for a very long time. If he hadn't regained consciousness when he did, his life would have been in mortal peril. Of course, a side effect of the prolonged comatose state was amnesia, as you now know. It was a simple enough task to silence the crew. But how? After they'd carried him out of the cabin, I assembled him in the lobby area. Then I made them swear to leave him unconscious and have him unlaid from the ship in Hong Kong as a murdered corpse. How horrible. It was necessary to find some material with which to persuade the crewmen to keep their word, of course. But why? Why do it in the first place? I will be at liberty to elaborate in due course. But for the time being, I would like to reassure you. I didn't foresee subsequent events. What events? His disappearance in Hong Kong. Oh. His disappearance in Hong Kong, rather. Oh, I believe I may have made a gross error of judgment. Mr. Sholmes. I do like this fireplace. It's one of the best things I've seen since we arrived in the country, in fact. Although, I do yearn for a Japanese kotatsu. Putting your legs under a warm, blanketed table is so comforting. Do be careful, Miss Otto. Don't mistakenly put your feet into the fire, will you? You'd suffer terrible burns, you know. I worry sometimes about who Susato-san sees me. My eye is always drawn to this big metal chest that Mr. Sholmes and Iris use as a coffee table. Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers? It is. So you'd think they treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it. Oh no! I suppose something must have been frustrating him. What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged? The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes was doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes. Oh dear, that is a painful tale. This looks like last week's edition. What's that article circled in red ink there? It's an advertisement column. It says, "To the Red-Headed League." The Red-Headed League? What's that? I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but... It's something on my face. Clearly this has something to do with that lively hair. The mask Kazuma wore when he was assigned to Lord Van Zeeks as his apprentice. When he cast it aside after the trial the other day, I just sort of picked it up. We ought to give it back to him, I suppose. But he has his memory back now, doesn't he? And I can't help feeling he might turn around and tell me coldly to wear it myself. But isn't he your best friend? It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. Or advertisement, I guess as they say in America. Or whatever, I don't know. I don't even know how I've decided to It looks as though someone circled an advertisement in this paper, Mr. Sholmes. To the Redheaded League? Does that strike you in some way? I was thinking that, just maybe, it might be related to your bright red hair. So, at last you've learned to apply my methods, Miss Ardo. Sorry? In the first instance, and quite indispensable, observation. Believe me, I could have seen that hair with my eyes shut. So then, allow me to regale you with the details of my latest exploits. Regale or boast? So, what is the Redheaded League, which seems to be the subject of the advertisement that you've circled? You notice it in the paper, then? That, my dear fellow, was going to be the source of this month's rent payment. It was? How? According to the advertisement, the Redheaded League is a distinguished institution of fellows of unspecified governance. In fact, the only condition from becoming a member is having red hair. That doesn't entirely surprise me. But listen to what the lucky redheads receive once they join. An unconditional salary of £4 a week. Oh my, £4 a week. But why? What are they paying people for? That, I don't know. No details are given in the advertisement. But surely every red-headed person in the country would be flocking to join in that case. You're right, Susie. There's no time to lose. I'll put in my application at once. So will I, just on the off chance. That might be stretching a point, I think. The trouble is, they have a fixed number of members, you see. Oh, I see. So once a certain number of people have joined, no one else can. But as luck would have it, one member recently passed away. It wasn't particularly lucky for the redhead in question, I feel, Mr. Sholmes. So you decided to try to join in his place? Correct. I mean, look at me. Haha. Have you ever seen such a red-headed fellow? No. So why did it have to go so wrong? What on earth happened? A blunder, Miss Nardo. Though it pains me to admit it. What did you actually do to your hair, Mr. Sholmes? I'm glad you asked, Mr. Sato. What you see atop of my head is neither dyed nor a hairpiece. I changed the colour of my hair overnight by the wonders of chemistry. Chemistry? I was conducting some research into a method of rejuvenating spent tea leaves. And in the course of my work, I stumbled upon a potion that, when taken, turns one's hair a flame-like red. Would you like to try it? It will make every hair on your body perfectly crimson. I think I'll pass. But Mr. Sholmes, is it quite safe to drink? Surely it's bad for you, isn't it? Amateurs are always hampered by such fears. Oh, I should never have doubted you, Mr. Sholmes. You mean to say? But of course. £4 per week, one must be prepared to turn a blind eye to a little danger. That degree of red signals more than just a little danger, surely. So anyway, Hurley left full of confidence yesterday with his new red hair. For the park on Lime Street where the Redheaded League were interviewing prospective new members. So what went wrong? The whole park was choked with The whole park was choked with red-headed folk like a Custer's orange barrow. I queued for 8 hours solid before at last I reached the front. But when the panel of interviewers saw me, they immediately said, "Ah, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, are you in disguise to conduct an investigation?" So naturally, I had no choice but to reply, "Shh, don't give me away." After which I could do little else but turn and leave. Then this morning, when I looked in the mirror, irritation stirred within me. So I turned that pair into the police. Oh dear, what a disaster. For Hurley and those two redheads. Wait. Ha! Here is my guest now. My latest client with money to spend. Oh, I do hope it's an exciting case, Hurley. Remember, Iris, we are at present gripped by the greatest problem known to man. I must be willing to accept any case, no matter how unstimulating. Save locating a runaway, of course. Don't spare anyone's feelings, will ya? Oh dear, I'm afraid that Hurley can lack a little tact, especially just before the rent is due. Oh, this is, juror number 2.
To have a man's fate.
I think juror 2? Yes.
To have a man's fate.
Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes, please, oh please. Please find my husband. He's run away. To upset me? I beg your pardon. Never mind. Personal matter. My apologies. What exactly are you trying to say, Miss Nato? I didn't say a word. Come, my dear madam. Be seated. Iris, some tea, if you please. Of course. What's the matter, Mrs. Sato? Oh, it's just that gentlewoman. I feel sure I've seen her somewhere before. Very recently. Yes, now you come to mention it. As I explained earlier, my name is Evie Vigil. I implore you to take the case, sir. Money is no object. Simply name your figure. Money and wealth are of little consequence to me, madam. Being offered a case to solve is reward enough. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you are the picture of benevolence. I will, of course, make a mental note of your offer, however, for contingent reasons. I trust you will remember your words also. If I might inquire, sir. This gentleman and lady would be... Oh, me. What I am about to tell you, I should like to communicate in the strictest confidence, you understand. These are my friends. I assure you, you may say before this pair anything which you may say to me. I see. I can vouch for the gentleman personally, after all. He's hard of hearing. Why did I ever get my hopes up? Let's see, so... Evie Vigil. There we go. Forgive me for asking, Mrs. Vigil, but have we met somewhere before? Quite recently, perhaps. Oh my! Pshaw, my dear fellow, what is your intention? Clearly, you have no ability to differentiate the facial features of the English. If you wish to invite the lady to tea, you must do so in a more gentlemanly fashion. Is it possible that you are the nice young lawyer from the trial I attended last week? Ah! I knew I recognized her. To have a man's fate in the palm of one's hand. Oh gosh, oh golly, it sends shivers down my spine. I didn't quite recognize her because she's acting so differently now. It must be very difficult for you as a lawyer, being hard of hearing, I mean. Pardon? Oh dear, I'm so sorry. Don't worry if you can't hear. It was frippery, really, nothing more. Now look what you've started, Mr. Sholmes. Thank you very much. I believe it would be prudent for you to sit quietly in the corner. Yes. Tell us about your husband, madam. Mr. Vigil, my darling, is 40 years of age. I have a photograph here. Entirely unremarkable gentleman, by appearance at least. How long have you been married? It will be 15 years this year. We have a cordial relationship, and my husband's income is more than adequate, so we live quite comfortably. That's what would appear. I need only look at you to know these things. Oh, gosh. Your dress is the latest style, your hat clearly regularly groomed, and your eyes are animated. In short, you have no inkling as to why your husband might have disappeared, correct? That's right. He's a kind man with a strong sense of loyalty, and he rather dotes on me. Which would point to the possibility that he has become embroiled in some incident or other. Oh, that is exactly what I fear must have happened, Mr. Sholmes. I'm quite beside myself. My husband's employment is somewhat unusual, you see. What if he's incurred some miscreant's ill will? What exactly is your husband's line of work? He's a warder at the prison. A guard? That is somewhat unusual. So, your husband is a prison warder? That's right, yes. Well, in actual fact, he's the chief warder. Indeed? Ah, I see. Well, chief prison warder certainly qualifies as something of a specialist occupation. Yes, it does indeed. My poor husband must prepare those dreadful punishments and see that they're carried out. Dreadful punishments? Does she mean capital punishments? And at such times he must occasionally spend a night or two in the prison dormitory. But for that extra responsibility, he is remunerated more handsomely than the other warders. Of course, we make no mention of my husband's work to the neighbours. Yes, I believe your prudence is justified. Tell me, at what prison is your husband engaged? Barclay Prison, Mr. Sholmes. Really? Barclay? Oh, a fine establishment. If I'm not mistaken, there is a large cemetery just behind it. Yes, that's correct. Lowgate Cemetery. No. Lowgate Cemetery, the very place we were discussing in court? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable, my dear fellow. And yet, undeniable. Sorry, Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid you've lost me. Ah, pay no heed, madam. Pay no heed, madam, pay no heed. A private matter. This can't really be a coincidence, can it? So, to the matter of your husband's disappearance. When did you realize he was missing? Please, try not to laugh. It was yesterday. I'm sorry, yesterday? That really is recent. Laughably so. The truth is, my husband does at times have occasion to spend the night away for his work. It's not at all out of the ordinary for him not to return home at night. But this is different. For him not to make any contact for a whole day, that has certainly never happened before. Oh, my dear Darley, whatever could have happened? My dear Mrs. Vigil, please, calm yourself. Now then, have you contacted the police? Why, naturally, but sadly, they refused to listen to my pleas, as my husband has only been missing for one day. I was asked to wait patiently at home. In truth, Mrs. Vigil, I concur with the police. However, let us not be hasty. I see no reason why we should not engage my detective powers to track your husband down anyway. Oh, thank you, Mr. Sholmes. And furthermore, let me assure you, a chance to solve the greatest problem known to man for another month has no bearing on my decision. I seek only to put a sweet smile on another Londoner's face. That's really all there is to it. You have my eternal gratitude. I shall pay any sum you care to mention. You seek only to put this week's rent in your landlady's purse. That's all there is to it. Thank you for everything you have shared with us, Mr. Vigil. I believe I have all the information I need to begin my investigation. Oh, please report to me soon with good news, sir. Fear not, madam. In a day or two, I shall be contacting you with a platinum report, I'm quite sure. So soon? Oh, how splendid, Mr. Sholmes. Good news should be delivered early, I always say. If you would be so kind as to leave the photograph of your husband in my possession. Photograph of Mr. Vigil. The photograph of Mr. Vigil has been entered into the court record. Photographic print received from Mrs. Vigil in order to aid with locating her missing husband. He appears to have no particularly distinctive facial features. Thank you. Now, allow me to show you the door. I can't thank you enough, Mr. Sholmes. You've been simply marvelous. You know, I think it every time, Hurley. But how do you come out with such nonsense? Good news in a day or two, are you sure? I can't be sure, of course, but then I didn't swear on it. I merely gave the good woman some hope. I hope to be able to give her good news, one might say. After all, the rent must be paid by the end of the day tomorrow. If by that time I've successfully located Mr. Vigil, we shall be mutually relieved. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Huddo? Don't look at me with those pleading eyes. Well, my dear fellow, did you hear the details of the case? Yes, my hearing is surprisingly good, actually. Excellent. And what did you make of it? Well, I was surprised to learn where her husband worked. At Barclay Prison, I mean. Ah, so you noted that. Of course, especially with the mention of Lowgate Cemetery. Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so it was renowned among our students at the university for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Barclay Prison is where that notorious man was incarcerated. The professor. And now a warder for the prison has mysteriously disappeared, it would seem. It's all very peculiar. Indeed. But nothing you can't handle, I'm quite certain, Mr. Nardo. Sorry? Run along to the prison and see what you can glean. Would you? It's the prison governor you want. No doubt the man is equally wedded. But aren't you going to go yourself? Surely you needn't ask. I can't possibly be seen out with this hair! Didn't you go to Lime Street with that hair? That was a quite different matter. So, I leave it in your capable hands. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm rather busy. You frickin' jerk. Of course you are. Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing in onto a lonely burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. 1st of November, Barclay Prison Governor's Office. That is the worst clock I have ever seen. I hate it with every fiber of my being. This place is full of hardened criminals. I cannot remember the last time a civilian was down here. And you didn't want to talk to an inmate, but to me. Do you ken who I am? I'm Governor Barry Caden. Oh, yes, it's a pleasure. I'm Renosuke Naruto, defense lawyer. I'm an Eastern ally. Does that mean... yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan! Did you say Japan? Yes. Japan. Well, there's no any of your kind in here, laddie. Maybe you should try a prison next door, eh? I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... I've no intention of speaking with the likes of you, suspicious looking Easterners. Now get with my hair. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means he's racist. I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genjin Asugi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? Your agents, part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just getting going with you. Before I punch your lights out. We're going. Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Kaiden? What are you thinking, Mr. Sato? I feel sure that name came up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have some ideas how to help us. Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. I said get out. Okay. That's Professor Mikatoba over there. Oh, hello, you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world now that I'm unpacked. Oh, where's Judge Jikoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today, goodness, he is full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before about how you've known the prison governor at Barclay Prison. Oh, Governor Gordon, you mean? Kaiden, you mean? So it is the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Would you? That would be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you could see, I'm very busy at the moment. Is he drinking coffee on a comfortable settee? Now, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow. You know, I'm not doing his voice right. Hold on. No, I have rather a lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or could it be that you Narutos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts? It's not Fallout now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully, when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Thank you. Letter of introduction has been entered into the court record. Good luck, then. If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Kaiden. What's this then? You cannot pull the wool over my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student. Mikatoba. That young jock from the forensic laboratory. That Mikatoba. Yes, exactly, him. Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugene Mikatoba's daughter, Susato. Jinx, you're a young man's daughter. I did think to mention that before. I do apologize. Ah, well, you best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And didn't forget to try one of these wee egg biscuits. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So, what can I do for you, Ed? Well, we're currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor. I have heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. I have heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. Kidding. There we go. That's recorded. Oh. But how can that be? It's Mr. Daily Vigil, your chief warder. What? Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir? Of course. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Hey, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye, he isn't working no more. He left the job. Oh my! When was this exactly? Here's the question. When was it about? It cannot have been much less than 10 years ago now. What? 10 years ago? He stopped working here 10 years ago? Hey, as I mind it, you can't have heard the fellow's name all that time. There's a worry if he's gone missing though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps, Rosado, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? It's important, is it? Yes. I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Miss Nardo? I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Oh! Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of Chief Warder 10 years ago, you're telling us? What happened to make him leave the job? In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. Sorry, a walk? Right, that's a word for it here. A walk to the gallows. An execution. It's a job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tray and oversee any executions, you say. Anyway, Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning. What did he do? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal that information. But I can tell you that it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. But why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't care anything about that, I'm afraid. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstance of his dismissal? And what would that be?
That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing. Was it by any chance the Professor's?
My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry. I really am. But I'm at no liberty to discuss. No, I'm not at liberty I'm not at liberty to answer that.
I see.
Well, that's as much of an answer as anything.
My father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted.
The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery room have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for the forensic research. For forensic research. You can? Yes, I can imagine.
The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable.
Your father worked in the laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard, in the basement of St. Sinners. Still used today.
St. Sinners, that's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there.
Mr. Turbo and I have used to ride in a carriage together and negotiate terms.
For more fresh material, I suppose.
We used to sit in here for hours and gamble about the section and all sorts. It takes me back. Over a pot of tea and a plate of cough biscuits, of course.
How charming.
He was a good fellow, your father. Reliable and dead set on his back. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese.
Because of Genshin Asugi, I suppose.
Well, I cannot tell you anything else.
Thank you so much for your time, Governor.
Oh, one moment before you weigh in. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison.
What is it?
That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course.
Oh my, are you sure?
Aye, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original mine.
Harsh reprimanding curve. Yeah. Thank you very much, Governor Caden.
But in return, do me a favour and never come back here. That case is closed.
Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being.
Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found out about Mr. Vigil.
What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder?
We're back!
Hello, you two. I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all.
Ah, so that's what the delicious smell is. Greetings, my dear fellows. You have returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating.
Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes.
Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application.
Oh, my.
Pray, tell me, what of our water friend? Have you garnered some new information?
Oh, yes. Something very surprising, in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that...
Sholmes!
Sholmes! Drop everything, Sholmes. This is more important. Gina? I can't, I'm even... What's happened?
Clearly a very grave matter indeed.
For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. He's the boss. What do you mean, Inspector Gregson? The boss is... He's dead. What? They just found his body, shot with a pistol. What? But, Inspector Gregson, he was murdered? No, not Gregsy. Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Are you serious, Gina? Inspector Gregson was really shot? I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. Thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss was... He was so good to me. I know I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was going to show him. I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny. So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? I got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who? What an awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper. Wait a minute. You don't mean they've arrested Lord Van Zeeks for it? That's right. That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss. No, Lord Van Zeeks. Are you quite sure, Miss Lestrade? It's Barack Van Zeeks the police have arrested. I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I saw him with my own eyes in the interview room at the yard. I don't believe it. But there were witnesses, and they're all saying it was him. So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They heard the gunshot, apparently, and when our lot got to the scene, that was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zeeks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. Thank you for informing us, Mrs. Strad. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry. What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing. You didn't do nothing. Well, anyway, I'm taking a cab over to the scene right now. Please come and all as soon as you can. You gotta help. It's a detective's lot to appear wherever some sinister plot is unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there in being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming? How can I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson! Mr. Hutto, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later, then. Inspector Gregson, dead, and Lord Van Zeeks arrested? Bruno, Susie! I've called you a hansom. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Iris. Shall we, Mr. Sato? Yes. Okay.
I'm gonna wrap up there. Yikes. That's a hell of a development. Sorry I'm wrapping up there. I'm genuinely sorry because, wow. That's a big shocker, for sure. Oh, wow. Okay, well, thank you so much to everyone who wasn't there. Wasn't here, rather, I guess. And, just thank you so much, and thank you for everyone who stopped by. Thank you, Thrifty and Sarah, for chatting a little bit earlier. Yeah, thank you to everyone who wasn't here, and I will see you all on Saturday. Bye-bye. Bye.